but more than anything else, you matter. Okay. Can you finish this sentence for me? People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Woo-hoo! Harry Belcher is the author of that statement. So yes, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if the video had been working, I would have paused it for you. The last two people used those statements. I want somebody I like. I want somebody who knows me. I want somebody I can trust. I want somebody who's honest. Because honestly, we're not doing business with Keller Williams or Remax or any of the other companies out there. We're doing business with that individual. And if they don't like you, they're not going to do business with you. It doesn't matter who you're with. So, and there are people who will stay with, like, for example, look at telephone carriers. I've stayed with Sprint for years and years and years, and sometimes they weren't the most innovative, or they weren't the cheapest out there, or they were a little more expensive than some of the others, but I stayed with them because I liked the service I was getting, and whenever I call customer service, they're always really good. I don't want to risk it and go somewhere else. That's the way people believe about how to do business with people, okay? Curb appeal is vitally important when listing or selling a home. Equally important is your curb appeal. So you want to keep that in mind. Now, when I'm thinking about image, there are two definitions that I really like. This is one of them. The image is the character projected to the public by a person or institute, especially as interpreted by the mass media. Okay, I talked about reality TV and how much the media really plays in that arena. The media plays a lot when it comes to what we think are acceptable images, or for that matter, acceptable behavior. We are inundated daily by thousands and thousands of messages from television, movies, magazines, billboards. We are seeing those every day of our lives, and what we see there is actually what we start integrating into our own thought process. I can see it when I'm looking at young girls dressing for work. Anybody have employees that dress inappropriately for work? It's because we see it in CSI. We see it in Law and Order. We see it on all of the soap operas. I remember watching a CSI show, and the medical examiner was going to go look at a dead body in a parking lot. She had a nice little pencil skirt on and a cute little tight shirt on and heels. How many medical examiners do you think are going to go to a parking lot to look at a dead body dressed like that? So it doesn't make sense, but because, and I come from media, believe me, I see it all, we recreate reality because it's entertaining and fun to look at, but it's not real. And so, but a lot of people say, well, you know, this is the new normal, and really don't take your media as your example of what the new normal is. You have to think about who your audience is, and we're going to get into more of that. The second definition that I really like is the general public perception of a company or an individual, especially as achieved by careful calculation, it's a long one, aimed at creating widespread goodwill. The first one talked about character projected. Can we really look at somebody and think about what kind of character they have?
Yes.
Yeah. We do. We form that decision. Here we're talking about perception. And everyone's perception is their reality. But you say, how can I know what somebody's going to perceive of me? Well, you can create some things about you that can create more of the perceptions you want them to have of you. And that's why I'm here. But here's the other part that I really like. Especially as achieved by careful calculation. That means you get to pick who you want to be and how you want to be perceived. You know, because I come from a movie background and in an industry in the media, I think about Tom Hanks. Most everybody's seen the movie Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Do you think that he just showed up on set with that script and said, hi, I'm Forrest Gump? That first day? No, what did he do? He spent months researching and creating that character. And then once he created it, he practiced it. So if I'm suggesting that you make some changes that are going to help you in your relationships, it might feel abnormal at first. You might say, that's not me. But it can be you if that's what you want. Now, I'm going to address some things that people have said to me about my presentation early on right now, so we can cover them and you're not thinking about them any longer. Some people have said to me, gee, this feels a lot like manipulation. What's the definition of manipulation?
Getting somebody to do something that's not in their best interest.
Getting somebody you want, getting somebody to do something you want for what reason?
Not in their best interest.
For their agenda.
For your purposes only. You're right, for their agenda. So what I'm going to suggest to you are some tools that will help you build relationships. If it feels abnormal, if it doesn't feel normal at first, that's okay. I got to tell you, going to the gym for me does not feel normal. Is it in my best interest to go to the gym?
Yeah.
Yes, because it's going to make me healthy, right? So when you're building relationships, sometimes it doesn't feel normal. So that's the manipulation piece. Now, some people say, but that's not the authentic me. What's authentic? What was authentic to me at age 21 is no longer authentic, because we're always evolving and creating ourselves. So some of these things I might suggest to you can be authentic for you with just a little bit of practice. All right. I have my 3 A's of image. Can anybody guess what those are? Attitude. Attitude is A number 2.
Attire.
Attire is appearance, or part of the appearance piece. And there's attitude. A number 3. Okay, who whispered alcohol? That's not alcohol. A number 3, nobody gets. So I get to do the alcohol joke. And that's ACE, A-C-E, which stands for the ability to communicate effectively. It's imperative that we're all that we can be in all 3 of those areas, because they're all interlaced. They all react with one another. Have you ever met someone, and I'm picturing somebody in my mind right now, who is really hot? Come on, picture that person. And you wanted to meet them, remember? And then when you met them, well, what were they like? Yeah. You know, you're like, okay, that is so not what I was expecting. Either they had a bad attitude. I remember this guy, he was so into himself. I'm like, okay. Now, being that I work in the movie business, trust me, I've met a few of them. The celebrities that were not in my slideshow were some of those people. Like, I couldn't wait to work with them, and then I went, okay, I don't even like you. I still have to work with you, but I don't like you, because they weren't what I expected them to be. Or you go up and you talk to them, and there's just nobody home. Have you ever met that person? You're going, okay. What was missing in those 2 pieces was attitude. Maybe they had a bad attitude, or they couldn't communicate in a way that you could have a conversation with them. You couldn't certainly trust them to do business with them. So the 3 A's are really, really important. Okay. Finish these statements for me. I'll leave it when I see it. A blank is worth 1,000 picture. Blanks.
Action.
Oh, you guys are good.
See.
Believing.
Oh, you guys got the Missouri one. That's great.
Sight.
What's the common element in every single one of those?
See.
They involve the visual part of your image. And these aren't new phrases. These are as old as the hills. I remember my mother saying some of those. I thought, what's with all these things? And here I'm using them now, so it makes me feel old. But here, they're all visual. And so this creates this statement, which I love, and I added to myself. What you do speaks so loudly I can hardly hear what you're saying, but I went, and how you look. What you do and how you look speaks so loudly I can hardly hear what you're saying. All right, so let me do a little exercise. Everybody stand up.